as I stayed away. And so she'd said that, so it's like basically she's saying that like neglect, right? Which obviously that is not a thing. But the reality of it is she feels neglected. And that is what she's doing, is because she feels neglected. She's finding any which way to figure out how to reestablish a relationship without doing any actual work, right? Without doing any heavy lifting whatsoever. I mean, she had to get a lawyer and do all of these things. That's like a financial thing for her, which is like, that's wild. But yeah.
It sounds like an unfathomable situation. Just as you speak, it just doesn't make any sense. You know, like why someone would do that to try to like leverage the law in their favor, and how would that benefit the relationship long term? Just sounds crazy, you know? Even if
So
she wins, it's not like you're gonna be like, yeah, mom, you won. Let's go do the thing you want to do now, you know?
But so, okay. So when you're dealing with someone that's high on the narcissism scale, when people hear stories about this, it is just like, this shit doesn't make, like, why would someone do that? It's
Yeah.
always the thought of, like, why would someone do that? But that is just, it's like wild when they do different things, but it's always kind of the same wild, like, this doesn't make sense kind of
Yeah.
thing. Like, they all do the same thing, but in different ways.
So if you think it's narcissism, and I know sometimes they say that
Let's just,
you don't think it's
we
narcissism.
all have narcissism within us. It is not, everything's on a scale. We all have empathy. Some people have like pretty much close to none,
Yeah.
and some people are overly empathetic to the point where they could be people pleasers where it's in detriment to themselves. But that's the thing with narcissism, is you can have, if you have not enough like, let's just, and this is, people will get upset about this, but not having enough narcissism is like people pleasing, where you will not care about yourself enough that you will do things for other people in detriment to yourself. But when you have just the balance of, I'm going to put myself first, not in detriment to someone else, but I'm going to make sure if the plane goes down, I put the mask on myself first, so that way I can help others. It's being able to pour from overflow versus pouring from an empty cup. But when you are high on the narcissism scale, you're kind of just trying to take from other people's cups, not pouring into yourself, but just trying to take from others.
Interesting. So how is there a path forward there? Like if that's a personality disorder, what can be done?
Well, so people that are higher than narcissism scale, they don't love themselves, right? So it all comes down to self-love. The more that you love yourself, the more that you will work on yourself, the more that you'll do shadow work, the more that you will go into those deep dark places, the more that you'll put yourself out there, the more that you will raise your own vibration, the happier that you will be ultimately. It is all a choice. Like, so it's just like, when I started going to therapy and looking and doing like shadow work of like recognizing sometimes the things that you don't like in other people, or most of the time things that you don't even like about yourself. So it's like doing that shadow work of seeing like, okay, the things that I didn't like about my mom, how did I replicate that? How did I replicate that and do like with my marriage? I was like, I will admit it 1,000%. Like, I was a really shitty wife until I started going to therapy. Like, and would do things and like minimalize his feelings and all sorts of things. Like, I was not like, yeah. I think if I could do it over, there are a million things that I would do over, and if I could take them back, I 1,000% would. But then doing the work and growing, then we need to work from there. We can't keep going backwards. If we're doing the work and we're progressing, then forgiveness is for ourselves and not for other people. So
Have you forgiven yourself?
yeah. And there's probably still stuff that I, probably still have along the way. It's never going to be this, everything is just perfect now. That's not a realistic way to ever think that this healing journey or the journey as a soul is ever going to be. There's never going to be this perfection.
Interesting. That's an interesting topic. The that dynamic, and as it pertains to you, definitely gonna have to do a deep dive into that one. I'm not the person, but I like hearing about it. Yeah, I'm definitely not the person for sure, because I've never experienced that. It would take me. It would be hard for me to like put myself there, because I just don't have that dynamic with my mom. I've never even had that dynamic with like a woman. Period. And if I ever was able to choose, it's always to get away from those type of people, because it's always been an option for me. Whereas to you, you had no option. So if I see signs of those kind, I'm gone. I don't exist in those spaces ever.
This has been since I was like a little kid of
Yeah.
trying to get away from her. Like the summertime, I would spend every summer I'd spend a week in my grandma's house, and it would just be like I would look at it as like a vacation from my mom and vacation from like it's just so weird because my stepdad's mom would tell my mom that like my job as a girl is to do all of the things. So kind of like grew up feeling like the Cinderella thing where like I'm the one who's doing all of the things because that is like my role in the family, whereas my brothers got to do whatever they wanted.
Mm.
So I'm like unloading the dishwasher and like doing weird shit like combing the rug. Like they had these like these expensive rugs that he like my stepdad wanted like brushed every night. So when he got home, he wanted the just dumb shit.
Yeah.
So, but going to my grandma's for a week, that was vacation. And she would ask me like, what did I want to eat? Like, what? You're gonna do things that like I like. I mean, not things that I like, but like get things that are just for me.
Yeah.
And then she'd be like, hey, did you call your mom? And I'm like, no. And then she'd be like, you have to call your mom. And I was just like, why? Like, this is why I'm here. So I don't have to, like, talk to her, be around her. Like,
Yeah. I think it was last week you said something about congratulating us for making it through our hardest days. For you, big congratulations. For real. For real. Because the fact that you're here as well rounded, as you are, and able to, revisit that and articulate it without a tremendous amount of just anger and, just pissed off is pretty damn impressive. It's a big deal because, there's probably a lot of people that went through something like you went through, and they're still struggling, and will continue to struggle because to reach back and do that work is a challenge. So
so
for real, congratulations. Because when
thank
you tell me
you.
about your story, I'm like, there's a lot. I can imagine.
But part of it too is, as I said, I did do a lot of therapy, and it is a lot of processing my emotions. So as work through your emotions and you start learning to like actually sit there and analyze, like me analyzing things, analyzing the emotions, where's the root of this, and then understanding it, and then being able to transmute that energy of the point of it for me is talking about these things lets me know that my pain is not in vain. So if I help other people or help people get to the root of their emotions, or that they can relate and see that there is a rainbow. Sorry, when I said rainbow, it made me think of the card.
Mm. You're on a roll there. You're on a roll.
There is a rainbow. That the pain's not in vain. It
Yeah.
is not for that. There was a reason. And even like some of the things that I've gone through when I like coach or can see things in other people, I realize, okay, yeah, that was a shitty situation, but now when I go to help someone else, I can easily help them dive deeper because I understand.
Yeah, you were able to pull the lesson from it, which is a gift as well, because a lot of people struggle with that. They're just in it and don't know how to, like you say, the word that you always use, transmute that is like the best word for it, to like shift that negative into something positive. It's like a superpower. Just letting that energy come at you. And I feel like lately I've been looking at, I don't know, you just start to understand things as you get older, like you ever seen older dudes do Tai Chi, where they do this like slow kind of karate, I don't know, it's not karate, it's Tai Chi. I don't know how I call it. But whatever these movements are, I don't even know what they are. I don't know if it's self-defense or what it is, but you just realize how much everything is energy. Like everything that's happening around you, it's all energy. So even if someone like says F you, right? It's like words. It's projecting out of their mouth and it's coming at you, and you can choose to just just dodge that. Let that thing go right by you, or just let it hit you and confront that and boom, face that energy. Or you can just, Tai Chi your way, let that energy go right around you, down, up, whatever it is, just everything's all energy. And there's
So,
ways to move around that.
okay. So what if they're kind of like doing like magic? And
People
wait, time
or the
out.
Tai Chi
When
guys?
when they're doing the Tai Chi. So
They might be.
have you ever heard of Reiki?
Yeah.
And there's like symbols when you do like Reiki, there are symbols that go with that you do with your hand. Like there's energy in our hand, we have the chakras, there's energy, like as you said, everything is literal energy.
Yeah.
So what they're doing is they're harnessing that energy, and they're also healing themselves as they create these movements throughout their body.
Yeah.
Another
Especially thinking about the way that looks, and yeah.
So I pulled a card this morning and it said, don't worry about abundance, be abundance. So, with that being said, as you create more energy, so in the word abundance, there is dance. So, in movement and creating more energy in your body, you're creating more abundance. You're raising your vibration, you're happier, you're raising your own currency, because we're like, what, 80 something percent water or 70 something or whatever, mainly water.
Yeah.
We are raising our own currency as we raise our vibration.
I like that. I like how you try to link the C to that. That's a good job. Well done. Is your mic on? I just want to check. Is it green? Oh yeah, you're good. I
Oh
couldn't see
no, I
it.
shouldn't be wearing a necklace, right?
Yeah, probably. Move it if you don't.
I should probably take off my jacket too.
Whatever you want to do. You got time, because it was like. Did you listen to it last time? It was like doing this clicking thing because it was rubbing across it.
Not
just,
the the one where you had said that wasn't like the last one though, because I didn't wear a necklace last
I
time.
can't even remember
Yeah,
what was
I think
the
it was
last.
like the second episode, maybe.
I thought
No,
it was
the
the one that.
third.
It was the one that we just played.
Post.
Yeah, the one I just posted. Yeah, that
Yeah,
one.
that didn't. Okay.
Yeah, it's like a little. You'll hear if you go back, but maybe I'm just picking apart everything.
Maybe
It's
you're
like
just
a
being
little.
a perfectionist,
Yeah.
like the
I'm
card
not a
said. Wait,
perfectionist, though.
wait,
I used to
wait.
be.
But wasn't that in the card about like
Yeah, there was something about
Okay.
that, and I listened to that. I actually enjoyed that part because I used to be that, and I realized that that's like
you
a
used to be
useless
that, but
pursuit.
that was what you're doing?
No, not that part. All right, showtime. Yeah, let's start it. I was just thinking about that. I was like, am I? But I don't think so. I'm just trying to get the sound right. All right, let's go. All right, welcome back to the show, everyone.
Oh wait, let me just take my jacket off. Real quick.
Yeah, you got it. You're good. Okay. Your host, co-host, and host, Miss Crystal Renee, your favorite Crystal.
I forgot about that. Okay.
Today's topic is.
Oh, let me get the book.
Distrust. I remember. I guess it was the wound, but I know it's just distrust. I remember speaking on it. The root cause, symptoms.
Yeah. Distrust. Okay. Oh, are you doing the intro or no?
Yeah, that was it.
Okay,
Yeah,
sorry. Okay, the wound of distrust. The trigger is the unknown. The root program is what if it goes wrong? The primary emotion is fear. The traumas are physical violence, religious trauma, manipulation/deceit, exposure to horror, doomsday culture, horrific accident, paranoid parenting.
Distrust.
Yes.
I do the same thing every time I do a and then I say the word. I gotta stop doing that.
Why?
I don't know, because I don't like it. I just don't want to do the same thing over and over again, because some of the things you do, I don't know if it's not nervous, but like pauses, like how you do, what was it, a or something like that? Like you do this pause rather than just leading right into the thought. And if you want to get better at speaking, you try to do some other shit, get better at it.
Okay, that's fair.
So yeah, but yeah, distrust. Mine is always stems from the same thing, just the dad thing. Distrust. I would say that I probably still have some distrust. I don't think. I guess you can heal from that, but there's so much to heal from. I would say that I probably have not, in every relationship that I've ever been in, the trust had to be earned, and the boundaries are extremely rigid, you know, because of my upbringing, and just not having that, not trusting anyone, not trusting anything. And I know it's all on a spectrum, and there's a healthy amount of distrust, but I think I carried an unhealthy amount of distrust, which made me emotionally unavailable for a large portion of my life. How about you?
Okay, well, question. So now you are happily married with a child.
Mm-hmm.
So how long did it take for your wife to like break that barrier?
That was pretty early because by the time I got to that relationship, I had already realized how much the distrust had hindered me in my life prior. So by the time I got there, I was, ready to be a lot more vulnerable.
So what are the things that you like? What are the things that helped you to, I guess, like break down that barrier then for yourself?
Well, first off, it was just someone simply telling me, literally, a lot of a lot of the good things that have happened to me has been at the, I don't want to say direction, but like women have a lot to do with it because a lot of these relationships you have with women, and they don't mind pointing out flaws in you, they just don't mind pointing out flaws, and if as long as you're not like overly insecure about them, you just you take an honest look at that, and you're like, maybe she's right. Initially you hear some shit, you're like, you're gonna reject it, especially if it's not positive. But then when you sit back and think on it, you're like, yeah, maybe I am that and I was that. And even though this person, in the moment, they may be saying it to try to sting, to stab you, but if you reflect on it and you can pull something, like you always talk about transmuting something, pull some good from it.
But it also is a choice. Like you had to choose to want to look at it in a way that you could find growth in that. Most people would get defensive and then keep it moving and then repeat the same shit and then be like, I don't know why I keep ending up in relationships like
Yeah.
this.
Yeah. That part right there, that part to me is confusing. I don't get that just because I've never been there. I think also because in my life, like, I like being good at things, like whatever the thing is, and life is a thing. You know what I mean? Like, I want to be good at life, being dead, like playing sports. I just want to be good at it. So I try to do things to make me good at it. And when I realize I'm failing in this aspect, I'm going to try to do something to switch that up. So yeah, someone told me about it, and I guess I want to say I took it. Yeah, I took it upon myself to do the work and just acknowledge it and confront it and
So when
realize
you
that it
say
was
do the
true.
work, like what do you mean by do the work?
What did this person tell me? What was the thing? The actual thing someone had told me was, it's funny because, the person may hear this at some point, but someone told me at one point that I was emotionally handicapped. And it was like the first time I'd ever even heard that, the saying, the phrasing, the coupling of words. I was like, that's interesting. It didn't take me very long, because I know myself to realize, like, yeah, this person's probably right, like, because you're a young guy doing young guy things, not necessarily knowing why, a lot of us, we do a lot of shit without knowing why. And I guess if you don't reflect on it, you just continue to do that shit. Some people are still doing that shit. I don't know why. They just never stop and take a look. But either way, you stop and take a look and realize, yeah, this person's right. And what can I do to change that? What is the work that I need to do? And I guess the work that I needed to do is really just figuring out why that was the case. Like, why was I, what was it? And the root of it was something that I was trying to run from.
Like
Yeah.
the thing that you sent.
Yeah. And it had nothing to do with her, obviously, nothing to do with anyone. It was just me. So I would say that that person helped me unknowingly, helped me for sure. I don't remember your original question. What was the original question? It went all
Yeah,
over the
like
place.
it was like how did you like the tools that you used, I guess, to work through that?
Oh shit! What was it? I guess
Well, you did say like acknowledgement, right?
yeah, acknowledging and realizing that carrying such an unhealthy amount of distrust was going to hinder it had hindered relationships, and it was only going to continue to do that, so and if I wanted to be in a healthy relationship with anyone, including myself, I needed to change that, because it wasn't like the person that was telling me this, we didn't have a problem, like we were good, or at least I thought I was good, but I guess she felt like she wasn't getting something that she needed from me, and I probably wasn't giving something to myself that I needed. I just was unaware.
Mm.
Yeah, so that was how I started to work through that. That was the beginning. A lot of people had to tell me, a lot of things. Like how now we confront a lot of things for whatever reason. Certain people, like you'll go and you'll talk about it, and you don't have problems talking about it, and some people do have problems talking about it. Whatever it is, the fear or whatever's stopping people. I don't remember what my point was. I'm losing everything. I have no clue what I was going to say.
Mercury retrograde.
Yeah, what the hell am I talking about?
Oh, Lordy.
Distrust, you.
Okay. So I guess so obviously we all know, like I got a shit ton of family trauma
Yeah.
and like a lot of reasons to have distrust. But part of, for me working through that is not only learning to trust my own intuition, but like we had talked about this before in like a different episode of like now being able to, I guess, like be able to pick up on people's auras or being able to pick up on their energy. That is not something that I feel that I like struggle with because I'm questioning it now as I say it out loud. I'm like, is this true?
At least you're honest.
Yeah, because I'm just like, and then but I will. And part of it too is I saw the other day this woman that was talking about giving people the benefit of the doubt. The benefit of the doubt. I wish I remember how she worded it because she said it so eloquently, but it was basically about when you give the people the benefit of the doubt, you usually kick yourself because 9 out of 10 times you're like, damn, like, I was just trying to give them the benefit of his doubt. But like your intuition already knew that's the reason why you had to say, I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt. It's because your intuition already told you that like this is probably a bad idea.
Yeah, you saw some signs for sure. Yeah, there's always signs.
So, yeah. So I also realized that there's really going to be a very small pool of people that I'm really cool with. And part of that too is, last night I was bartending and there was this woman, she's like into crystals. She's like amazing. We were, I'm at the bar, I'm doing readings while I'm at the bar. I don't care.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
this is just me with my decks wherever I go. So she is also just tuned in and tapped in, and she recommended a crystal for me, and she recommended ruby, and I was just like, okay. I like, hey, whatever the universe gives me messages, I'm gonna look into it. I'm not gonna just go out and get a ruby and be like, hey, I don't know. Like, so I did research on it, and it was basically to take me out of my shell. To make me more of an extrovert when I'm in social settings. Because I am an extrovert, but I have to be like really comfortable with you. So it's just like, and that's a very small pool of people.
Yeah.
So my main point is that it is, I feel like I don't have trouble with distrust of really people. And even with like, I think we have a lot of fear mongering going on right now, like in society, where it came to like the Doomsday,
Yeah.
that movie that we both had watched, not together, but like the Julia Roberts movie.
Yeah, I don't remember the name of it.
Damn it, neither do I. I was hoping you did, because
Yeah,
I
I have no
did.
clue. I don't. I did.
Where'd my
I
phone
never
go?
knew what the name was. Something about leaving the world.
The World Behind or
Yeah, something like
something?
that. It might be
Or
Leave the World Behind.
it's probably in my cell phone, and your phone is what is recording it.
Mm.
Doesn't matter. So lots of fear mongering going on with that. And with that movie, one of the things that came up for me was when he was talking about his GPS not working.
Mm.
And he made a statement like, without my GPS, like, and you can't Google, you can't do, his son is sick, his son's teeth's falling out, like all of these things are happening. He can't figure out what direction to go in. And I realized, like, oh, and he said about how he was useless now. And I was like, shit. I was like, end of the world, I would be so useful with like all of the books I have. Like, we can't Google shit, but I know how to make my own, I know how to make herbs and use herbs and spices to
Yeah.
make like medicine. Like, so it's just like, I don't know. I was like, I'm winning, kind
Yeah.
of.
You didn't have that fear that he had.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
You're like wondering where the hell that was going, right? Like, where were you taking that?
Yeah. So it was kind of, I really don't have that fear. I feel like I was kind of I would be the man with the gun on the porch. Like, sorry, like, I don't
Yeah.
know what to tell you. You got to figure it out. Like,
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that was interesting.
set up that boundary real quick of like, I'm here for my loved ones. Like, you're Joe next door. Like, my bad. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so like distrust, does it play any part in your life currently?
I want to say like not really, because I've really learned to trust my intuition.
Yeah.
And I'm really happy. I'm really seeing the benefits of that. And if something does happen where I'm just like, shit, I really should have listened, I can take that lesson and be like, all right, cool. This may have been like the fifth time I had to learn this lesson, but this time I really learned it. So yeah.
Yeah. I feel like it doesn't play much a role in my life. I feel like it's healthy, and most of the decisions that I make are like logical anyway, like logic based. I'm not making a whole lot of decisions based off emotions and feelings, and at this age, my circle is also small too, so, maybe when I was younger it could have been more problematic, especially having, real rigid boundaries. I would say when I was younger though, it probably was problematic because you don't know to give grace, and you don't know to trust people, and it doesn't even feel, at least for me, it didn't even feel like there's a reason why I should, because like, what is going to come from this relationship that I should risk my own, emotional or personal safety just to trust this person? Like, what am I getting from that? So I guess as you get older and you don't really need to do that as much, or you create a life where you don't need to take those type of risks with your, emotional situations.
Yeah, I love that you said create a life, because that's what we are all doing, is we get to create a life, right? We get to choose how we want our lives to go.
Yeah.
We get to choose, we get to make our own yellow brick road at the end of the day. And this is a weird statement because it just popped up in my head, but this man was talking about, like, people are talking about if the world is round or flat, right? But at the end of the day, what if, like, we recognize that the world is a living organism, and that, like, the road just being created as we go? Like, what the fuck does it matter if it's flat or round?
Yeah, I guess it wouldn't matter. Well,
Are we ever going to
yeah.
just fall right off?
The world?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it works like that. Yeah, I don't think that can
So
happen.
then what are we worried about?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if anyone is worried. I don't know what the debate is there. I'm not a
Flat earther.
yeah, I'm not. I wouldn't be one of those people,
But have you ever thought about it?
No, not at all.
Never.
No, just because I believe in satellite imagery and shit like that. So no.
Oh, so you haven't thought about it, but you do recognize that you haven't thought about it because there's satellite imaging. So you have thought about it because you had to have had those Do you know what I'm
No, I
saying?
didn't think about it. It's just like if you see a picture or something and you know how satellites work and, shit like that. And there's images, so you don't really have to think about it, It's like if the football gets thrown at you, you don't have to think whether it got thrown at you or not. You know, because somehow that shit was propelled through the air. It's like kind of definitive.
Okay. So is the world flat or round?
It's definitely round. I don't know how round, but pretty certain it's, roundish for sure.
Because
Satellite imagery. But distrust. Not at all?
I guess like when it comes to dating, like having to do
There you
that
go.
all over again.
Yeah, that's a major, yeah, the position of trust in that situation, extremely impactful. Like, how do you go into it?
Yeah, I mean, I guess like there is that. I guess it usually doesn't take me very long to like see past someone's like BS.
Yeah.
I guess that's the thing is I've been really quick to be like, listen. And it's funny that you had brought up the woman who had said that you were
Emotionally unavailable? No, she didn't say emotionally. But yeah, that one.
yeah
Yeah.
that thing because
Emotionally handicapped.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I had to say something along those lines, but I didn't say it like that. But basically, this man, like, really, just like is, pursuing. And
Mm-hmm.
I was like, listen, I'm like no longer interested. And he was like, but why? And I was just like, I just feel like you're emotionally immature, to be honest. Like, that was my nice way of saying it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just like, I'm no longer, going to, when I recognize things, I'm no longer just going to be like, oh, I hope it changes. Like, I hope it gets better. I'm just like, yeah, you're emotionally mature. Like, this isn't going to work out. And his response was like, okay. But then would like a few days later, just like try and pretend like I
Oh,
never
you
said
didn't say that?
this.
That's crazy. Like, if you had said that to me, it would have been helpful, I guess it depends on who you're talking to. Like, hopefully he pulled the lesson from that and did something about it. But, sometimes it takes that. I guess you have no awareness of it until someone tells you. Like someone telling me that, I literally had no awareness of it. I didn't realize that I had a shortcoming in that area. And then when it was made aware to me, I wasn't even mad about it. I feel like I was more thankful. I was like, okay, I need to work on that, And what can I be mad about? I had a situation in my life happen that would make me emotionally handicapped. So yeah, she was correct. Pinpoint. Like, she should have, you know.
Well, that's the thing too, is like in the shadow for you. So that's like what shadow work is the things that you are not seeing because it's in the shadow.
Mm,
So doing that work to dive deeper and be like, oh, wow, I didn't realize that. But now that I know, I can choose to do better. I can also choose to pretend that that I don't care
yeah,
and that it's fine. And then continue that pattern, that cycle,
yeah,
or I can do something about it and grow.
yeah. And I think when someone shows that to you, like at that point, I was at the fork in the road. I could have went left. I could have went right. Had I went the wrong way, it would have hindered my growth tremendously. It would have set me back years. Like we come to it, when we come to it, but I don't know. I felt like it was, I don't know if it was late for me, but I just wasn't getting signs early enough. I wasn't, nothing was forcing me. I wasn't trying to acknowledge it. I wasn't trying to see it, just running from it. And I don't even feel like I didn't realize I was running from it. It's not like I knew that I was running from it. I just was. It's discomfort, and no one tells you, or no one told me at least. I think we all seek comfort, like most human beings, we seek comfort because it feels right. And a lot of times when you're young, what feels right is wrong. Whatever feels like the best, it might not be the best, a lot of times.
Well, that's staying in our comfort zone. That's what it is. Like a lot of people want to Forrest Gump, Jenny, ended up in all of those. We watch scene after scene where she ends up in these toxic relationships. She's getting slapped in the face. She's, all of these things getting, in front of other people, or the man that's forcing himself on her when she says no, she doesn't want to, and he's still forcing himself on her. She's in all of these toxic cycles, and then later on in life she ends up with like I don't even know if we actually know what Jenny died of. It was like AIDS or like what?
I think so, right? Yeah, I think it was that.
I think like that.
Yeah, because they were worried about the son having it.
Okay.
Remember? Yeah.
So with that, she finally ends up with Forrest Gump, who has loved her the whole entire time and has loved her in a healthy, selfless, I just love her kind of way. She was running from that the whole time, but repeating the cycle. So also remember, Jenny's sitting there as a child, right? Dear God, make me a bird so I can fly far, far away, because she's getting sexually abused by her father. Her sisters also, that is happening. So all of that trauma that she has stayed in her comfort zone of being drawn to men that still treat her in that unhealthy way that her father did. So that's one way that people will still stay in that, will go towards what they feel is, it's like weird and toxic, and like when you really analyze it, it's just like you're like, that doesn't make any sense. But it's just like that is what they know. So that is still them staying in their comfort zone because they know that. And then when they are in healthy relationships, there is that distrust of like, when are you going to turn into this? Like, this is the beast that I know. I know the patterns of when someone drinks something that they're going to hit me or do whatever. Thankfully, I've never been in a physically abusive relationship.
Yeah.
But I've, talked to people and, there are signs and like, it's staying with the devil that they know versus the devil that they don't know. So it's like, oh, I know when he gets drunk, I just have to do this, or I just have to tiptoe in this way so that they don't get upset or blah, blah, blah. So staying in their comfort zone, a lot of time people will stay in toxic situations and continue toxic patterns because it is just what they know.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. And it's easy. We all just naturally, most
Yeah, but
humans,
is
we
it
seek
easy? Because
comfort.
like now that I have my peace, like that shit is easy. Like that shit is
Oh yeah.
great and golden, and like now I'm just like I just love it. And I guess maybe there's part of that like keeping up that barricade of like, listen, like you need to know the password, the code. You need to know all of the like you have to have like there's put the Rubik's cube together. Then you have to jump through this fire. Then you have to like yeah.
Yeah. But you had to do the work to get there, you know? So obviously doing no work is easier than doing work, especially if the no work feels right also, you know, and you don't know that although seeking discomfort sounds bad, it is in fact the correct thing to do, and it is the direction that you want to be going. But nobody tells you that. I was, yeah, had no awareness of it, and just luckily, you know, the signs as you go along the path, they present themselves, and you can either pay attention to it or you can just keep going down the path as you see fit. And I got lucky. I was blessed here and there to just to see a lot of the good in seemingly bad situations, but now I don't even know if I look at anything as bad, really. It just is. Like my motorcycle accident, it wasn't good or bad. It just happened, you know? It was just a thing. It's just energy that went in that direction. But the net benefit from that was positive. Like I'm thankful for it. It sucked, but it was great.
So what was the lesson that you learned from it? Like I don't really
My motorcycle
know.
accident? Oh man, that was like the most tremendous thing that ever happened to me. I don't know about the lessons would be so many, but I just learned so much about myself because I had to go off on my own. You know, I had to change like my life to a certain point. I was going this direction. I was becoming this person, and it looked like I was going to go that way. And then I crashed, and everything changed. And I had to figure out how to become who and what I needed to be in order to continue. just living in general, because I didn't know who I was. My identity was stripped from me in a moment. So I guess in that fact, I learned not to identify with any one thing. Yeah, as it is now, my identity isn't wrapped up in any specific thing. And the most important thing to me really is like
We got to
being
add
a
some
husband,
context to
father,
that. Because, like, so what was the path that you were on that got stripped for you?
just regular path, just athlete, workout guy, like basic kind of, I would say kind of inconsequential, nothing special, no real depth or anything, because there was nothing in my life that was happening that was challenging me to become a better person. I would just go into the gym, shit we're doing when we're 20 years old. So imagine you're 20 years old, you're going to the bar, you're doing whatever you're doing, your life's whatever it is, and then you crash or you have a life-changing incident, and your friends are gone, your money's gone, you're back at your mom's house, you're sleeping on the bed, like your whole life is just
So is that why
changed.
you started your business?
That was some years after. Started the business some years after the motorcycle accident, because I crashed a motorcycle when I was 23 and the business was like 30.
So what was it like? What is it that getting taken off the path that you're on? What path did it take you on? Like what was it that you learned? Because I like so what I'm hearing is that the motorcycle accident like just totally derailed you and put you on a different path. So it's
Yeah.
kind of sounds like you found the blessing
Hmm.
in that situation
Yeah.
because it sounds like you were just on the path of being in your comfort zone,
Hmm.
of being an autopilot.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so it really challenged you
Yeah.
and forced you to have to really work through things to really raise your vibration
Hmm.
because going to the gym gives you that like dopamine, whatever it
Hmm.
is, gives you that natural high. So it's like now you're not going to the gym and getting that natural high. Now you have to do other things to like to force yourself to get that from a place that you naturally were able to just go and deal with frustration or whatever it is.
Yeah. It gave me the opportunity to sit with myself, because I don't know how many of us get the opportunity to just sit down and be with our thoughts and really reflect on the years of our life to that moment. Because when I crashed, I had to go back to my mom's. Well, I was already at my mom's house, but I was just there. I was like stuck in a moment. I couldn't work. I couldn't do anything. My life was kind of out of my hands, because there's like a lot of doctor shit going on. Is my arm going to work? Is this going to work? It was just kind of up in the air. So all I did was think about every choice, every decision that I had made up to that motorcycle accident, and like the person that I was and the person I was becoming, and if I liked it, posts, and the people that stuck with me after it, and why they were there, and the people that departed, did they depart because it was an opportunity for them to depart? And if that was the case, why? Just like those kind of questions. And there was some people like that when I was down, a little bit weaker, and they probably weren't getting whatever it was from me prior, they, screw it, they were gone. And that's when I realized like what friendship is, a lot of real shit that you just don't know. I learned really early, like, and I got like 3 friends still because of that. And I realized, it's a different, when people say friend, it's a spectrum. I'll just say that, it's a spectrum. And what it means to each of us is different. And my friends I had since the 5th grade. So, yeah, those kind of questions. So, yeah, I found I was gratitude in that for sure. We got so far off topic.
But it was all important though.
Yeah. So, even though there wasn't a whole lot of, I don't know, you didn't have a whole lot of distrust in your life, in your history, if someone had came to you and they were struggling with distrust, do you or would you have any way to advise them on how to move past that?
I would think of like send them like intuition journal prompts of how to learn to start trusting your intuition, how to pay attention to your body, meditations and things like that. To because at the end of the day, like I feel like we pretty much like know the answers for most of the things, but it's like fear that gets in our way, or not even when we put ourselves in unhealthy situations, most of the time it's because there's some kind of benefit for us in that. Like even were you wearing a helmet
Yeah, I
when you
agree.
got in your motorcycle accident?
Yeah, it was, but it came off. It wasn't strapped on, but I was wearing it.
Okay. But
That's a strange story. So,
how does that help you if it's strapped on? If it's not strapped on?
because it was on my head, but the strap, it wasn't buckled on the bottom.
Okay.
So it was able to be launched off, but it was on my head.
Okay.
But it came off. I got a little scar on the top of my head. It fell off. I should not be alive, really.
That's yeah.
Yeah, I got medevac and the whole shit. Struck the street with the apex of my head. I have no memory of it. Yeah, that whole situation, it taught, I don't know, I would say if it taught me, but I don't know. I've been in so many weird places as far as like consciousness and energy goes that, how you
And
described,
you're answering some things that I'm just like, ooh, I wonder. Okay.
how you described like auras and colors and, energy being that way? I feel like I have seen energy, and the energy that I've seen is white. Yeah. I won't say vividly, but I have a memory of the direction that the car was coming from.
See you later.
See you later. I have the key.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know that, but the heat, I don't know.
Oh, you can shut it off. You can shut everything off.
I think she likes it down to 50. She had it on 55.
Okay.
She didn't tell you anything.
No, she didn't tell me because I don't mess with it. I don't mess with anything.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. See ya.
See you later. What the hell was I talking about?
I'm not going yet. I have to clean up. But
That's okay. Oh yeah, energy, light, consciousness. Yeah. So either way, I didn't see it coming, but I know it came from my right, and I have a memory of it just being like a white flash. And I didn't feel it, but I knew it was coming. If that makes sense. Because it was energy, and there was just a great amount of force coming from a certain direction. And then I was down on the ground. And I was like kind of in and out, and I could see, no, I couldn't see shit. But I could hear people, I could hear voices, and my mind was creating imagery, although I couldn't see, but I have a visual of what was happening. And then I was in a helicopter, just kind of in and out. And then I woke up in a hospital. I don't even know how many hours later it was. So it's like my idea of what consciousness is, I feel like might be a little bit different than what everyone else's is. And now I'd have to like really think about that to explain it, but I just know that like your mind and your body, although you think it all works at one, it really doesn't, and you have to actively do things to synchronize that. And when you don't, your shit's out of whack, and you probably have panic attacks and all types of, ailments that people have. And if you can find that balance to like really tie it all in together, that's when you're like, just moving through the world like Neo in the Matrix.
So it also sounds like you're describing like getting your chakras in alignment.
Through a motorcycle accident. Yeah, my shit got aligned on the street.
But I mean, also part of that too is like
yeah.
my immediate thought is like you're not done. Like you still had things that you needed to accomplish in this world. Like
Time out. A man told me that. Okay. A random strange man told me that. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna have to throw this chair out the window right now. I can't believe that you're even saying that. A strange man told me that one time. I delivered something to me and he told me that exact same thing. It doesn't even make any sense. Keep going.
So.
Chakra.
Oh, yes. So when you're saying about like, your body being out of whack and like it's like balancing your mind and your body together. So that's what it's like when you're doing exercises or meditations or eating certain foods or doing color therapy to align your chakras. That is what you're doing, is being intentional about getting your body and your soul, like your body and your mind and your soul, like all integrated.
Yeah.
That's basically what you were intentionally doing. And as you said, as you do that, when you're more in alignment and you get your chakras in alignment and you're intentional about that, it's like you're just flowing through life. Like everything is just like all of the answers are coming to you. All of the, you're raising your vibration, which then you are raising your currency.
Yeah.
So all of these things are happening.
Yeah, I agree.
And I too was in an accident where oh my gosh, I crashed into a tree, and I obviously was the one driving. I didn't have my seatbelt on, but I ended up in the passenger seat. Like literally, it's kind of like where it felt like someone just literally just boop and put me, not a scratch, nothing. The car was totaled, like literally, if I would have had my seatbelt on, I would have been done. Yeah, but absolutely nothing on me whatsoever. And obviously at the time I didn't know, but I still had, more things to accomplish in life.
Yeah, for sure. I believe it. Now you're here, and me and you were doing this by the grace and the universe. What's the guy that wrote a book? What? Shit, I don't even want to try it. What's his name? Paulo Coelho, is that his name? It's called, damn, it's about like magical kind of shit. I feel like you would
Like
know
law
this
of
book.
attraction or
Paulo
like
Coelho, what is this book? Forget it, but he says something like whatever you just said there. I don't even remember what you just said. I have no clue.
okay.
Paulo Coelho, damn, what is this book called?
You said I
It's
don't
like
remember
about
what you just
The
said.
Alchemist.
Okay.
Have you ever read the book, The Alchemist?
No.
I figured you might know something about
But I
that.
love that because it always comes up for me as like the alchemist. Like that's where, like when I'm like transmuting energy, that is something, that's being an alchemist.
Yeah, that's in the book. And you just said something that kind of connected that all together.
Cool.
All right, let's shut it down.
Okay.
Shit. Oh, not bad.